Good to see you guys. Thank you for joining in. Let's continue with this cool little game. Like I was saying, we kind of started. I think we played through basically the first fourth of the game. I think there's 4 bosses in this game. And can I get in there? I want to get in there. There's a dead guy. There's a lot of dead things in this game for sure. Yeah. Taco Bell does that to a person. It really does. Taco Bell will do that to a person. I actually had Taco Bell for the first time in a long time. A few weeks ago, and I was hanging out with a buddy, and he was like, "Yeah, let's get like just a bunch of tacos." And I was like, "Yeah, that actually sounds pretty cool." Like at least there, it's like I can get them without cheese. Because my issue with Taco Bell so much of the time is like everything in the menu is just fucking drenched in cheese, or it has a bunch of it like kind of mixed in. But tacos are like pretty harmless, you know, in the grand scheme of things. And yeah, and again, it's like you can get it really cheap. So yeah, we got a bunch of tacos, and it costs like, you know, $10 to get like 20 of them, obviously. But like even still, I remember, and we were both pretty hungry, so I like went ahead and downed one of them, and I was like, yeah, having a good time. And then I was also like halfway through the second one, I was like, man, I realize how spoiled I am, because there's a lot of like really good Mexican places around me that do really banging street tacos. We're talking like just chorizo street tacos that are just out of this world, and they're like not that expensive, and there's a bunch of places near me that do just really good street tacos, like really good stuff. So I'm so spoiled. So like halfway through my second taco from this Taco Bell kind of battle chest of tacos, I'm just like, man, like I'll keep eating it, but in my mind I'm like, oh, it's not the same. And of course I knew it wouldn't be, but I was surprised and not surprised by like just the juxtaposition of like just in general quality. I was like, man, like just you can really taste the like the drop off in quality. Holy canoe. But it was still like a fun thing. But I'm just like, man, I know people that if given the choice would eat Taco Bell at least once a week, or I'm sorry, at least once a day. Listen to me, once a week, at least once a day. And I'm over here like, man, I don't think I can do this more than once a year, honestly. Like it's a fun thing, I suppose, every once in a while, but no, it's like I
need a prayer.
You know, stomach constitution notwithstanding, just kind of dealing with like I said, just kind of the dip in quality. I think I'm spoiled, man. I've tasted the mountaintop, man. I've tasted the land of milk and honey. I refuse to go back. Haven't had issues with honestly, and it didn't really give me any stomach issues, but again, I didn't have anything with cheese in it because I'm lactose intolerant. And I didn't really eat that much. I think I had like 2 or 3 tacos. So it's not like I went crazy, you know, and ate like a bajillion Crunchwrap Supremes or something. Nothing too ridiculous. Yes, I want to drink your vodka and eat your, what is this, honey? Whatever this is. First time in 20 years, he says. Just a dude. Not sure where that dude came from. No cashiers, but the terminals now. That's interesting, because yeah, I think when I placed my order, for one thing, I placed the order ahead of time and then picked it up and like kind of got it to go as like just like a carry-out kind of thing, like a carry-out order. And they still had cashiers in there for sure. They're so fast. Usually I pull out the big guns for these guys, but one of those then. Yeah, they still had cashiers. Oh, that's the wrong button. But not very many of them, and yeah, very much more of a focus on the kiosk, and also more of a focus on the
desperate measures.
He is still moving, yeah. Dark Bane, what is you exactly? How much health do you have? Quite a bit. Oh, you have a lot of health. Okay, so you like damage him and he goes away for a little bit, but he'll come back. But yeah, there's more of a focus on carry-out orders and ordering online and that kind of thing. Less on walking up to a cashier and placing an order by oneself. I'm guessing that that's like a sign that we're gonna have to like deal with this dude every so often. It'll kind of warp in, we'll damage him, he'll leave. He has a bajillion health, so I don't know if we're just not expected to be able to kill him. And it's going to be more about trying to just get away from him. Headshot. Not terribly surprising, I mean, that's just kind of how these things go. You know, more of the focus on ordering through the app, that kind of thing. It kind of makes, it's kind of not terribly surprising. I imagine it's like how it felt when drive-thrus were first introduced. You know, the drive-thru as a concept was first introduced, and people were like, man, what the hell? People aren't eating inside anymore. They're eating in their cars and eating as they're, like, you know, driving to and from a destination. Renee says they've never had a taco. I went a decent amount of time, like, not really being into tacos or like Taco Bell inspired kinds of things. Yeah, he just kind of disappears after a bit. But I think part of it is because, yeah, for a good while there, the only kind of taco or like Mexican food stuff I was really exposed to was Taco Bell. Once I like started to experience that there's like really good stuff out there, it kind of changed the game for me. So I would say, like, when it comes to Taco Bell, that kind of thing, it's kind of not even a fair comparison, because, you know, it's just not going to be as good compared to, like I was describing earlier, the really good stuff that are more authentic in their nature. But there are some great ones. There's some really nice stuff out there. Especially, like, yeah, like I was kind of saying earlier, the more traditional, like, street taco kind of stuff. Big fan of that stuff. Yeah, it's a charmed life, though. You don't really have Taco Bell in your neck of the woods. That's a fair point, too, because I figure it's probably, like, fairly common in most parts of North America, but I'm sure there's parts of Canada where they're not very prominent. And I would assume they're not really a thing in Europe. I would assume. I mean, I know McDonald's is, like, pretty well established in most parts of the world, but I assume there's plenty of places that don't have other chains that we have here. You know, Carl's Jr. / Hardee's, Burger King. Like, I figure a lot of these are probably kind of hit or miss for a lot of other regions. Oh. Keeps trying to tickle me. Doesn't do a lot of damage, though. He's just kind of vaguely annoying. Say, I know he's still here. Yeah, I'm hearing noises. Those guys, you can pretty much pop them. There we go. That's just a one shot will do it. One shot wonder. Ouch. Or the one shot me. Also 27 health, not the bestest. I might have to use one of my little healing, my little mobile healing stations. Haven't had as much generous health pickups this time around. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do exactly that. I'm gonna... Is it F? Pay respects? No, that's not it. Q. Go ahead and save.
Your assistance is invaluable.
Is it Q to heal? Q to heal. There we go. I couldn't remember which one it was. I was in Canada a few months ago. That sounds... Oh, shit. I wanted to read the chat. I want to read the chat, and I got 8. I got my ass 8. Lots of indigenous people up there, yeah. That's what I've heard, Drenay, which is something I wouldn't have guessed. I know, Drenay, you said you're somewhere near Quebec. It says checkpoint. Of course, I just did a manual save. Does that count? So I just done a heal, and then the dude decided to jump out and slurp my entire booty. I'll do another heal. Big area out here, though. Is it a demon butt gun? Probably this one. I think it looks more like a fish, like a shark thing with like the dorsal fin it's got down the middle. A lot of different culture between, yeah, like within and between the different tribes. That makes perfect sense. I think Puba's right. I think there's probably like an assumption that a lot of it's like fairly same. I pressed the wrong goddamn button. That a lot of it's probably fairly samesies. But yeah, I think Todd's right. I think there's probably a lot more diversity kind of within those camps than some folks might think. There we go. So we do have some health right here, so I didn't have to spend a bunch of this stuff there. Oh, I was trying to learn how to read. I see the big man's there again. this for a little bit as well. There's a guy up top throwing shit at us, which I'm not the biggest fan of. And that little fella. Oh, except he got a bunch of his health back. What a cheater. Wrong button. Or not the wrong button, wrong weapon. I say he was inside. I saw him. Seems like that's the best way to dispose of those guys, just when they start to spawn in, because it seems like they just have infinite health. Now that I know that they heal. Ooh, there's stuff up there. Probably a way to get up there. Is this game Lovecraftian? I would say it's definitely got some like Lovecraft vibes for sure. If not just from the visuals and like the bad guys, like the dudes that have like tentacles sprouted for their face. Squid demon fellas. I mean, oh yeah, I would say there's Lovecraft inspiration at least. At the very least with the monster design, that kind of thing. Carl's Jr. is not Hardee's. I've never been to a Carl's Jr. location, and I haven't been to a Hardee's location in years, but I've at least been to Hardee's over the years. But yeah, I've never like gotten to set foot into a Carl's Jr. So I have no idea how different they may or may not be. You know, I can get up there. Maybe if I like on this thing somehow. Oh, let's look at this fucking guy. Can I headshot him? Stab, 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 stab. I wonder if you can, like, what happens if you eventually kill him? Like, if you can even kill him. I don't want to spend too much time on this because that guy's going to keep respawning and he's going to be a big old meanie and he's going to be a stupid head. But, oh, here we go. Jump on this guy. Also, I've got my knife out because it's like Counter-Strike, right? If you have your knife out, you jump higher and run faster. That was. I always run fast with my knife out. Yeah, I can't do it. Ah, well, whatever's up there, I'm sure it's overrated. I'm sure it's nothing amazing, unless I can like a secret. See nothing. Let's just keep going. Let's look and see if there's like a secret wall or something like that. What's up, Sin Schism? Sin Schism says, I am Sin. Schism. Good to see you, bud. Whoa, there's a resub from Corky. Corky teacher, that's so nice. That's so freaking nice. Thank you, bud. That's very, very generous of you. It's really fun, though. No, I didn't know that about you, Todd. That's awesome. Thank you for the kind words, by the way, earlier, Todd. I was appreciating the banter earlier. He's saying no, he's a solid dude. Well, if Todd's saying that I'm a solid dude, it means I'm in good company because he's a solid dude too. We like that Poobah guy. He's a cool dude. One of those good duders. We like the good duders. We like those guys. Ooh, is this a secret? This is a secret! Armor and health and ammo. And also, oh my god. They got fucking Trogdor. Next to a what is almost amounts to like a burning trash can, but yes, Trogdor. It's like I was saying the other day, like I'm not gonna be like, ew, gross, references to things, pop culture, I'm not gonna say that's bad necessarily, but it removes me a little bit from like the immersion. Like it reminds me that I'm inside a video game, which is probably like a dumb thing to say, but it's true. Like it reminds me that I'm playing a video game made by like nerds and not like a self-contained world, you know? It kind of removes the immersion a little bit. I would almost rather not maybe as many of those kinds of things. To me, it's like maybe takes away from the experience slightly, but they're just having fun. They're just having fun. The devs can have fun. That's not forbidden. And also, yeah, I guess you couldn't even get to that purple area, whatever was up top, because that wasn't a secret. And it looked pretty hard to reach, so seems like the kind of thing that would have been secretive, you would think. Appreciate you popping in, Sin Schism. And we got Quirky Teacher with the resub. Quirky Teacher, 31 years. 31 months. 31 years. That's amazing. Thank you for being here, Quirky. Elgaso resubbed earlier. His was like 72 months. Porky here, 31. Like, man, some long-standing subs here. That's super freaking nice. People that, despite all my weird nonsense, seem to keep returning against their better judgment. Against the you know, what other aspects of like their psyche and or sanity would tell them. They can't resist. They keep being brought back for more. So I guess we have to kill the things that are like spawning them. It's like station thing. Yeah, get it. I wonder if that means like if you just sit here and farm kills. I mean, I don't know if you're really getting much more experience from killing them, but if you farm the kills, if it can cause the like the number of kills at the end to overinflate, where it says like you've killed 100 out of 73 bad guys, like, to exceed the maximum. Also, I like the close quarters. Reminds me a little bit of the grave, like the catacomb levels in Painkiller. Throwback from Painkiller, which I liked, like that first one. Solid guy. I'm more of a superheated fluid. I'm a non-Newtonian. Elgasa says no fun allowed ever. Looks like Shogoth. Yeah, I think that is very much by design. Shogoth and what are the ones that it's like the fishmen? Trying to remember what they were, but yeah, the fish lads. The fish lads are like the crap. I can't remember his name. But yeah, like of the various Lovecraftian like elder gods. Deep Ones is the name for like their underlings, but like I'm trying to remember the name of like the guy on top, the guy that rules over the Deep Ones. Sin says, I have a weird piece of news. I'm happy to hear it if you're okay to share it, Sinskism. I do remember when I was in your stream a few weeks ago when we waited NT, you'd mentioned that there was like some shit that went down, unfortunately, relating to one of the hurricanes you guys were in. Each 8th grade, no sanity left, valid. Dagon, that's it. Thank you, Drene. Dagon, yeah. Dagon presides over the Deep Ones. Got a medallion, by the way. Will make weapons not consume ammo. Oh, that's kind of nice. That is pretty cool. So we've got all these like really cool superpowers that are great. And, you know, we charge little by little. Oh, he's got a lot of health. We charge little by little as we kill bad guys and gain madness, the opposite of sanity. And stuff we really haven't used a whole lot, and we did some heals a bit earlier. But yeah, like we got all these really cool superpowers, and there might eventually come a time when I do find that we need to use them. We're not playing on the super hard difficulty, we're playing on just normal. But yeah, there might come a time when I have to lean on those more, because so far it's been pretty chill. Also, I just noticed the Han Solo. Just noticed it. Midnight Monitor Anomaly Watch. Oh, that's cool. And now a developer, that is awesome, Sinskism. I know you've done like development stuff in the past, but it's a delightful bit of kind of happenstance. So that just kind of fell into your lap like that. But that's fantastic.
These monsters made a cozy.
In fact, I seem to recall you told me about something kind of somewhat similar to happen not too long ago, where you got like kind of, I shouldn't say roped in, but you kind of like got involved a little bit with like a developer, maybe not a developer, but some kind of project. With maybe it was with another streamer. I can't remember how it worked, but like it was kind of like a random situation where yeah, you like kind of made a connection with somebody, and the next thing you know, you're like, well, yeah, maybe you were modding for them, maybe you were like helping them with some other kind of pet project. Some people, in Sinskism, you're one of these people, like have a knack for like being a very helpful person, and like people can sense that from you. So whether you like it or not, people are like able to tell like, oh yeah, this dude is trustworthy and is knowledgeable and is like super chill. And it's like, well shit, now I'm helping this person with this project. And of course, Sinskism is always down for a collaboration, always down to like, you know, work with people. So your willingness to dive into stuff is admirable, and I suspect this is a function of that. I know your mother is fond of the Deep Ones. Says, oh god, that's a pretty good one, actually. It's pretty good. house guest situation, right? Because I remember you described that to me when we were in your chat the other day, or I guess it was a week or two ago, and that sounded pretty unfortunate. But I'm glad that I'm glad that they're under your roof and that you're taking care of them, because it's a crappy situation for everybody involved for sure. So there's a red key. There's also a blue key somewhere. I know if I pick up that red key, it's gonna spawn some baddies. I know it's gonna happen. Mother Hyda rules over the deep ones. Oh, Dagon's a dude. Yeah, there was. That actually kind of sounds familiar. I thought there was a second elder entity. Esoteric Order of Dagon. That's right.
I need it.
Big fan of the mythos of Lovecraftian things. Yeah, I've never read any Lovecraft. I've played a lot of games that are inspired by Lovecraft. I've watched a handful of things that were inspired by them, but yeah, it's by his work, that is. But I'm far from an expert. I really ought to read some of his stuff, because I think I would enjoy it quite a bit. Even though there's like, it's like, you know, some common bit of knowledge that some of it maybe hasn't aged super great. Just, you know, the considerations of there's all these things that I enjoy that he has inspired. It's like at some point I really ought to just engage with the source material. Maybe not the source material, but like kind of what inspired it. So, I'm gonna get his ass straight teleported away. I noticed until a little bit earlier that the orbs are kind of homing in on you. In fact, yeah, for Christmas one year, I think my brother got me like a compendium of a bunch of his short stories. I don't know if it's all of them, but it's like several of them. So I do have the means to get into that shit. I just gotta get my lazy ass around to it. Unfortunately, my book situation is similar to my video game situation, insofar as the backlog that I've accumulated over the years is similarly shameful. The backlog of games I have to play is quite embarrassing. Excuse me. So we got the red key.
This door's locked tight.
Door's locked tight. This one here. Get a little savey. There's 2 blue doors. So go this way then. Oop. Yeah, Dagon's the fella, Hydra's the lady. Now, the only like bits of Lovecraft lore I've kind of picked up on are from playing Lovecraft games, because we did play, I guess really just game, singular. Actually, no, I guess no. I mean, no, it's a game. I was about to say, what's it called? Call of Cthulhu: Dark Corners of the Earth. We played that one a couple years ago, and that game was rough. I'm glad I played it just because that was a game that I've always wanted to play, and it's inspired a lot of cool stuff that I like, and a lot of my friends really like that game, so I always heard really good things about it. I'm glad we played all the way through Dark Corners of the Earth, but it's rough playing it. I don't really know if I recommend it, but I'm glad I played it, but it was kind of unpleasant near the end. Like, it kind of overstays its welcome. It becomes a very trial and error kind of stealth game, and I think to a fault, I think the game would have done better to focus on like the cool like mystery aspect and not just be a very arduous stealth game. But when it works really well. Like when it's creepy and spooky and mysterious, it's great. But anyway, so yeah, so there's aspects of that game that were not great. But the other one though is the board game, Arkham Horror. I've played a decent bit of Arkham Horror over the years, and I was about to say, oh, that doesn't count, but then it's like, no, it's a game. It's a board game. It's not a video game, but it's a board game. And I like it a lot. I mean, it's a tough game, and it's a game I think we've only won a handful of times, but it's worthy for sure. And it does a decent job, I think, of teaching you some basic lore of, you know, who these elder gods are, where some of these significant places are. You do learn a little bit of backstory about some of the NPC, or something, not even NPC, some of the player characters, because I think some of them are not just one-offs, but actually have significance to other Lovecraft stories. Like, you'll see some of the characters in
May you rest in peace.
Arkham Horror and like other kinds of Lovecraft situations, Lovecraft stories. Then there's Call of Cthulhu, the kind of like, there's no subtitle, it's just Call of Cthulhu, and that came out a few years ago. I've heard that one's quite good. Dagon. That's right. That's right. That's right, Todd. Nyarlathotep. Got it on the old Xbox. Yeah, I played on PC, and maybe that was where I fucked up. Maybe I shouldn't play it on PC. Because the PC port is infamously awful. It is a very, very unplayable, like hard, I don't even mean like unplayable mess because it's like, you know, bad or anything, but unplayable because the game just won't run. Unless you have like a billion DLLs and like community patches, and even then it won't work all the way. It's rough. It's rough. Maybe what I should have done was, yeah, tried to like find a used copy and play on the original Xbox. That probably would have been the way to do it. You got to see his grave. I think I heard you, or like saw you mention something about that, Todd. I don't remember if you had told me about it on here on Twitch chat at some point, or if it was something that I saw you mention on social media. But yeah, that does sound really cool. Trying to like, you know, utilize this thing's widespread.
Glad I could find these.
Like sometimes I'm shooting with the two shooter, the two pisties. It's like I'm like firing like this, and the bullets are just whizzing by their heads sometimes. Yeah, that absolutely does count. Have I played The Sinking City? I have not. I've heard it's quite cool. I've heard it's like not everyone's cup of tea, but I think I would like it based on the kinds of things that I do enjoy with games of that nature. Mansions of Madness, that's a good one. Oh, it's a board game? That's a problem. I haven't played a lot of board games in more recent years. I used to be cool. I used to play like a lot of board games. I actually met Todd through a mutual friend of ours, Adam. He's been the DM for all of our Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder games. But also, he's like one of my more like prominent board game buddies. That's how I met a bunch of other friends, kind of in our little group, Tyler and Jeremy. You know, people that Todd also probably knows pretty well. And yeah, back in those days, I used to be cool. I used to play lots of cool board games. I used to be so hip and modern. And nowadays, man, I haven't played a board game in ages. I feel like I've fallen behind. My coolness factor is slipping. Yeah, it's The Sinking City. I've heard it's a little bit rough around the edges, but I think I would enjoy it. The things that I've heard people say they don't like about the game are not deal breakers for me. And the things that people like, I think, are things that I would really like. So yeah, I get the impression it's something I think I would enjoy quite a bit. So we got the blue door. This probably leads us back to the starting area. I'm gonna see where else this rabbit hole leads. Training the next couple days. Time to read a book. Oh yeah, no, it's totally fine, Quirky. I appreciate you popping in, and thank you for listening in. I won't be offended if you have to hop off just because I don't want to distract from you know, being a responsible adult as I spout profane nonsense. Yeah, you're like it's like an investigation kind of thing. Yeah, it's probably more survival horror in that aspect, in that sense. Yeah, less like fight and more, yeah, run from bad guys, which I'm okay with. You know, I can very much vibe with games where you have to avoid combat and avoid scary things. We played through Silent Hill 1 all the way through. It was a couple years ago. I guess it was about 3 years ago by now. And I liked it a lot, except for the very, 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 like, last sequence where if you've played the game, and I'll avoid any major spoilers here, but if you've played the game, you probably know what I'm talking about, like the last kind of major area where you're kind of permanently in the fucking meat grinder zone, if you know what I mean. You're, like, just stuck there. And the bad guys, I don't know if they're infinitely respawning or what, but there's, like, so fucking many of them. And by that point in the game, you've like gotten a pretty good job probably of being able to like get around bad guys, so avoiding them is not too hard. But there's like key quest items that you need to get in those sequences that will where if you do not get those quest items, you'll be locked out from getting the best ending. And I didn't realize that because it was my first playthrough, obviously. So like I'm seeing like just how many bad guys there are, and I'm just trying to rush through because I'm like, yo, this area sucks, holy shit. And then at some point I'm like, oh fuck, I'm missing some items, what the hell? And one of my friends was like, well, yeah, you missed a bunch of key stuff. It's like, well, damn, there was no time, there was too much stuff to avoid. many bad guys. I was just trying to get going. Didn't realize that I was missing some important task items. I mean, you could still beat the game, but you get the worst ending, obviously. So it's like that was a bit of a bummer. So like, you know, that I can very much vibe with survival horror, where yeah, you're not exactly like a super powered badass with a ton of ammo. Sometimes you're just a regular schmuck running away from bad guys because all you have is like a crowbar or you know, like yeah, a revolver with 3 bullets, and you're fighting Mega Satan. Just once lost. Yeah, that was like a wake up call. It's like, damn, like I thought like I had cut my teeth on pretty legit survival horror, but when I saw how tough that one was, damn, Silent Hill 1's got hands. I really ought to go back and replay it though, so I can get like one of the more reasonable endings, because I've heard that it leads well into Silent Hill 2, which I also ought to play at some point. But I'm kind of weird. I kind of want to play the original Silent Hill 2 before I play the remake, so we'll see. Of course, playing the original Silent Hill is tricky because there's no digital way to purchase it. You either have to sail the 7 seas or emulate, or, you know, hope you can find a used copy without it costing a freaking arm and a leg. I've heard Moons of Madness is really good. I've heard that's really good. That's on my list for sure. And that one came out pretty recently, didn't it? It's if it's a game I'm thinking it is, I've heard it's very good, and I've also heard that it's like made by a very small developer. Wasn't that the one that is kind of like Starfield in a way? Hard time getting that guy. It's the one I'm thinking of. It's kind of like Starfield, but well, for one thing, you actually have vehicles.
Setbacks are fleeting.
Starfield's like
will succeed.
Allergic to giving you vehicles, which is one of the main sticking points for a lot of folks. There's bad guys that are gonna spawn up from up there. One thing. Yeah, if it's a game I'm thinking it is, it's like pretty good and made by a very small development team, but it's like they've done a lot with a small team and made a really solid game that yeah, I think generally speaking everyone is saying is like, it's not like a perfect game obviously, but like for what they're able to accomplish, it's pretty impressive. Ever played Silent Hill? Yeah, I mean it's a oh god. It's a series that, you know, is kind of a mainstay of the survival horror genre, and was very much ahead of its time. I mean, I was really impressed by Silent Hill 1, which was a fairly late PS1 title, I'm fairly sure. Fairly late in the PS1 life cycle. And it holds up pretty well. I mean, the visuals, of course, like the graphics are kind of, you know, kind of grungy, but like it kind of works. The grunginess works. The fog, obviously. The fog in Silent Hill 1 is such a prominent feature of the game. You know, some might call it like a limitation, but you know, they turn what is to some a limitation, very much turn it into like a, you know, a thing you have to kind of work within, as far as like, you know, the limits of the game and the. I'm gonna grab some resources here. Something you have to kind of work around. It's almost like, I mean, it's an environmental kind of thing for sure, but it like the fog is almost like a hazard you kind of have to work around, because like it limits the draw distance. You know, you can't see as much obviously, but like the game is kind of made better with that limited distance, because it like ups the tension more. You know, you can't just see bad guys from a million miles away. You have to be like very methodical about how you approach certain situations. So I feel like that limitation kind of like breeds some very impressive levels of depth that I think horror games, at least back in those days, weren't really known for necessarily. So Silent Hill 1, at least, I thought did a really good job of like what were considered horror limitations became like a very unique kind of horror experience that inspired countless others, obviously. And of course, Silent Hill 2, at least the original, apparently is even better. I haven't played it yet, but apparently, like, everyone says the second one's like even better. Holy shit. It's those little fellas. Ouch. I shouldn't say everybody. I'm sure there's probably some folks out there that like Silent Hill 1 more than 2, but it seems like, generally speaking, the general consensus is that the second one is a very, very worthy sequel. So he's down there. Beep boop. Moons of Madness is on Mars. Yeah, if it's the game I'm thinking it is, I think people have compared it favorably to Starfield. I think the general consensus is that like Starfield is not like a bad game, obviously, but there's aspects where it came up pretty short, and there's indie games out there that have that check some of the boxes that Starfield failed, unfortunately, to check for a lot of folks. And yeah, I've heard that Moons of Madness, if it's a game I'm thinking it is one such case where like, yeah, it's like, holy shit, this one actually has like land vehicles. Oh my god. Even if it doesn't have quite the same level of polish and like just general gameplay variety, it's kind of an easy thing to dog on, I suppose. So I got more health, which is great. I'll confess. Oh, here we go. I can go down. Here we go. We saw this area from above. Oh, there's gonna be a door down here or something like that. Too young to know Silent Hill. I'm I don't think it's a young. Well, for one thing, the remake, of course. That's one thing that's really been nice, actually, is that the remake has apparently just done generally really well. I think most people agree, either if you've played the original games before, like back in the heyday, or if you're playing the remake just as a standalone experience for the first time, and this is your first Silent Hill experience. Generally speaking, it sounds like a lot of folks really, really like the remake. There's always like the downside whenever there's a remake of an old game like that. You know, how do you satisfy the old guard? How do you satisfy the old gamers that played the original and make it like a worthy experience, but also make it modern so that, you know, the younger kids who are used to, you know, newer games, it doesn't feel archaic and bizarre. Like, how do you straddle that line? And it sounds like the remake for Silent Hill 2 did a pretty darn good job, which is really impressive because I think it's really hard to do. So the good news is there's like, it's never too late necessarily, but at the same time though, yeah, when it comes to the original games, yeah, they're old, and again, they are famously impossible to play nowadays unless you have a physical copy of the original game at a PS1 or emulator. Now, you know, for legal purposes, I'm supposed to say even if you have an emulator, you need to have a legally sourced ROM of the game. You know, for better or for worse. So emulation, of course, is a multi-step process, and having the hardware for like a physical copy. What's this? It's a sewer creature. Wait for him to pop up. Step. Okay, you have to wait for them to pop up, and they're very annoying. Yeah, so that's the problem. And the reason for this, at least with Silent Hill 2, I think 1 is okay. 1 is in okay of shape, but Silent Hill 2 is famously is like impossible to ever make available in any like official stance, because the remake, or not the remake, the original. And it's not because like, hold on, who's the developer for Silent Hill? I think Konami. It's not because Konami bad, although Konami is a frustrating software game developer. Or I guess game publisher. It's not because Konami bad, it's because Konami famously lost the source code for Silent Hill 2, the original. And because of that, yeah, it's like, you know, there will never be a port for Silent Hill 2, the original. It has to all be made from the ground up. You know, it has to all be made from scratch, which is truly unfortunate because, you know, there's a lot of folks out there, especially now, there's like renewed interest with Silent Hill as just in general now that the remake has done so well. So it's a shame that, yeah, there's like really no way to play the original unless, again, you get a physical copy of the original or have some kind of emulation set up. Ish. But what's it say? Fishing contest. Oh boy. July 6th. Oh man. Start planning for next year. There's a number of other games that have had that kind of thing happen to them, but yeah, the idea of source code got misplaced. Therefore, you know, it's not gone forever, so to speak, but it'll never be ported, unfortunately. Let me see if I can check one thing real quick. Yeah, what's that game? Oh, I lost my cursor. think I'm not allowed to Alt-Tab on the screen. I think that's the issue. There we go. Now I have a cursor. Oh, okay. So the Moons of Madness is not the right game I'm thinking of. The game I'm thinking of is Moon Mystery. There it is. I'm an idiot. Moons of Madness. Okay, that's the one. Yeah, I did a quick look. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Drenay and Iggle Wiggles. Yeah, you're both right. Yeah, I had the wrong game in mind. I was thinking of Moon Mystery. Secret found. Oh, I pressed a button. And it did something. It opened up something. I'm gonna grab these for now. Probably spawn some bad guys. Yeah, I was thinking of Moon Mystery. Moon Mystery is the one that apparently does some things that Starfield doesn't. And that like, you know, is a kind of has that like is somewhat open-ish sci-fi kind of adventure role-playing game. And does aspects of that kind of design that Starfield doesn't do as well. Yeah, Dead Space remake, yeah. Yeah, I've heard the remake for Dead Space is pretty good. Generally speaking, pretty good. Again, there will always be those that prefer the original, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that, obviously. He's throwing more shit at me. Exploding fish. I mean, lots of stuff. And more story. Yeah, I think the general consensus is that, yeah, that's a pretty good remake as well. Did they lose the source code for their own game? I think lose is like not a good word for it. I probably shouldn't describe it that way. But they didn't maintain it. They didn't like back it up. The issue is like Silent Hill 1 is such an old game. It was made at a time where there really wasn't, like, from a software development perspective, there really weren't widespread sources for like what we call like versioning of software, source control, and like some kind of repository where things can be edited and maintained, and changes can be tracked easily from like user to user. Back in those days, it was much more of a manual process, and because of that, it wasn't uncommon for game development companies, to like, oh yeah, crap, the hard drive that we had that had all of our source code from like 3 games ago, oh, someone lost it, or, hard drives will get corrupted over time. Hard drives have a limited shelf life. Like, oh yeah, the person that had that hard drive, they forgot to back it up, it got corrupted, or like something otherwise, there was some otherwise issue for it, and we didn't have any other backups, so that's just, that them's the breaks, and that's just how it goes. It wasn't uncommon for that to happen back in those days. And Silent Hill 2 is not the only case. There's been a number of Capcom games, I think, where the similar thing has kind of happened. And yeah, the general consensus is like, yeah, that's... some of those games will never be officially ported unless they were fully remade from scratch. That's actually where the Silent Hill 2 remake is particularly nice to have, actually, because yes, they did remake that game fully from scratch for the remake, and thank goodness they did. At least now we have an official and pretty easily available, implementation of Silent Hill 2 that we can enjoy. Although it's not the original, it's better than nothing. Mass Effect Legendary Edition DLC couldn't be added. Yeah, I mean that's particularly a bummer, because Mass Effect is a much newer series. I mean, I guess the first one came out in like 2006, 2007, but still, the basic gist is still the same, where it's easy for that thing to happen if proper version control protocols aren't put in place. In the 90s, again, Silent Hill 2, back in the 90s, that kind of thing was more common. It's still frustrating, but it's like, a little bit more forgivable. But with Mass Effect, man, that one stings, because, it could have been, didn't have to be that way. It could have been handled better. It's unfortunate. Oh, it fell through the floor? All right. Okay. Canoe rent, shooting, hot dog, and then something is $100. Early game production was like a fever dream. I can't imagine. I mean, I'm a software developer as my day job. My day job is as a software developer, so like that's what pays the bills. But I don't like have like a burning passion for it necessarily. Oh, I do have the red key. I thought I didn't have the red key. That's why I kept going. I don't like live and breathe it, so I don't really do any like software like side projects or anything. You know, this is my side project. You know, playing, streaming, and like that kind of thing. This is like my hobby. This is my equivalent of like a car in the garage that I'm working on. This is my project car, so to speak. Except it's playing video games and like trying to think of ways to be entertaining and trying to think of ways to, you know, make like trying to find games that are interesting to people and establish an audience and like do weird stuff with my friends. You know, like weird gaming projects with my friends. This is my all that is my equivalent of like a project car
Enough of it.
in the garage. But with some of my friends that are software developers, their project car, so to speak, is like a homebrew game project that they're working on solo, or maybe it's a game project with friends, but or it's an app that they're working on, like a smartphone app or a desktop application or a web app. You know, a lot of my friends are into that kind of thing, and I think it's great. I think it's awesome that people, you know, of this discipline are able to like hone that energy and use it to like make cool shit just on their free time. Because to me, like software development and coding, that's work. Like I don't want to do work when I'm not at work. I want to do fun stuff like playing games and like, or in this case, something that like, yeah, it takes energy, but like it's also like very fulfilling. It's fulfilling to me doing something like this. Whereas like doing software development, even game development, to me is a lot of work. And it's even modern game development is intimidating and feels like it would be exhausting. And yeah, I don't really, it's not something I want to engage with myself, but thank goodness that there are those that do, because there have been some really cool indie projects that have started as like humble, modest little hobby projects that have, you know, taken on a life of their own. I mean, Vampire Survivors was a one-person project, which is pretty remarkable. And that game invented an entire new genre of games on its own. We call them survivor-likes now. So, you know, it's wild to me that we have these, you know, pretty remarkable success stories. Let's see, there's something flying around. There's a fella. Oh, there's the fella. Really been harping a lot. Oh, is that a ladder? Oh, I can climb that ladder. Maybe. I can climb that ladder. I can break those cuffs. Get up there. I did read this, right? 1990s was forever ago. It's wild to think it was 30 plus years ago. It is pretty fucking wild. What's up, Shock Value? Flight Sim, that's right. I find it a little bit weird. I respect it. I think it's cool that someone, because to me it's like a sign that they're into it, you know? It's a sign that they're like into this thing that they do. Like they're into it. They're not like some people might be like, oh, what a nerd, but I think it's kind of fun. I think it's like a cool, like, yeah, it's nerdy, but I think it's very positive. I think it's very constructive, the idea of like being so into one's craft that they want to do things relating to or like pertaining to their craft outside of work, outside of the of working hours. I think that's pretty cool. And to be honest, I'm envious of it. I wish I had that drive, because I think I think like you could do so much cool shit with like just using the software example, you know, the idea of making a game in your free time or a desktop app or a smartphone app or something, you know, you could like add something to the world. You can, you know, bring something that can, you know, better people's lives or entertain their lives in some way. Or just express yourself. You know, game development is kind of an art in of itself, so you can like, there's like so much possibility and untapped potential with like weird indie game ideas. Like there's all kinds of crazy stuff out there on itch.io and of course Steam as well, but like, man, there's like, if there's the AAA games are one thing, but indie games have so much diversity, so much wild crazy shit out there. It's awesome, and the idea of like contributing to that is very exciting. So yeah, I'm envious of those that have that kind of that kind of drive. I think the term, the best way that I heard to describe it years ago, it was actually at like an indie game conference thing that I think still happens here in St. Louis. So it's called Pixel Pop. I don't think it's as big as it used to be, but I think the pandemic kind of fucked it up a little bit, unfortunately. But back in its heyday, I would go most years, and I remember there was a really cool presentation done by some local game devs, And inevitably somebody brings up the question of like, yeah, like how, you know, how do you get started in game development? What does it take to get to be a game developer? And honestly, the big thing that he harped on was not the usual stuff like, oh, you got to go to college, you got to get a degree, you got to learn about coding or art or writing or design concepts. He said the main thing was grit. He used that word. You need the grit to get through it, which is to say, you know, it's like you can't just go by passion. You can't just go by inspiration. You need like discipline, and you need like that something inside of your brain that says this fulfills me to work on this. Like if I'm going just by passion or just by inspiration, that fizzles. That's a fickle feeling, and it's hard to trap that lightning in the bottle. That you have to have that grit, and I think you could apply that to a lot of things in life, where it's like you need that thing that malfunction in your brain that says this is fulfilling to me, not just temporarily, but I want to keep doing this, and I want to do it until I am passing out of my desk. that's like the sign that you've got what it takes. And he was saying like that's like the most important thing, and that always stuck with me. He can go into great details. I mean, honestly, yeah, his type of crowd eats it up. Shock value. He should stream. If he doesn't, he should stream, because there's absolutely an audience for that kind of person, the kind of like expert even, that can describe not only a great deal of what they're doing, but also related to like real life circumstances, or tell stories based on, you know, what they've experienced with their job, that kind of thing. I think that's a very unique perspective. IT tech, yeah. This was a temple, but now I want nothing to do with it. Now, Shock Value, you're one of my Noita buddies, right? You're one of the Noita buddies who is like, man, I can't fucking stand this game. I'm noticing a trend here. it's like this thing drives me up to a goddamn wall now.
First aid.
Debugging your house was rage-inducing. Yeah, it's work. To me, it's work, and I think it's great that some people have the patience to deal with that kind of thing. And I think for some folks, it is work for sure, but it's like, but they're the masters of that domain. They don't have to submit a Jira ticket to get that, or like a pull request to get that thing fixed. They are the masters of that destiny. They can jump right in and fix the issue, or at least start working on the issue. They don't have to get approval. They don't have. They're familiar with, presumably, if they set it up, you would presume they're familiar with all the systems, all the aspects of how it was set up. So I imagine that's at least part of it, where it's like, oh my god, this is a pain in the ass, but at least I've got like the grand vision for all of it. I don't have to like navigate through multi levels of bureaucracy to find what is missing, or to talk to the right person to get their approval. Like, you know, when you're the super admin, for better or for worse, the buck stops with you. Yeah. Okay, so not quite the same situation. It wasn't that you were like, obviously with the IT stuff, it's not that you're bad at it, obviously, but yeah, just, I was thinking it was more of like, with like the Noita thing, there was more of like, oh my god, I don't have like the patience and or like sanity loss capacity. Because that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes a game like that will absolutely affect your sanity with the bullshit it spews your way. So yeah, so maybe not quite like a one-to-one comparison. What came to mind? So
I appreciate.
At first I was thinking this is the exit, but no, we do get a new weapon. We get a harpoon gun. That's badass. Can't wait to level this thing. Oh, speaking of which, I did get a level. I got 2 levels. What the hell? What am I doing? Just get tired of it, yeah. But still pretty good at it, right? Yeah, that's the thing. And it's enough for that to be a job, and it doesn't have to be your life. That's perfectly fine. I was just talking with my wife earlier tonight about that kind of thing. She's a graphic designer by trade, and she does that as a job. And she knows that I have some graphic design needs. I have things that I want to do, you know, for my stream that would benefit from having a graphic designer. But at the same time, I'm not like, I'm never harping on her to be like, when are you gonna do that graphic design stuff for me? Because it's the same kind of thing. Like, she does that shit for her job, you know, for like her as a trade, doing that kind of thing for, you know, like friends or family members, even as clients that I've offered to pay her, obviously. still, the idea of having to do that, like, outside of working hours, who could blame anybody for maybe not being super enthusiastic about that? No, I totally understand that. Just being like, listen, I've got the juice, I've got, like, the fuel to do this to pay the bills, and beyond that, it's a means to an end. It's a means to afford a lifestyle, and you know, to give me, you know, disposable income and pay the bills and put a roof over my head and not make me hate myself. And my job mostly does that. It mostly makes me not hate myself, mostly. How's about this? So we just got the... Wait, no, hold on. What's this? This is... Yeah, that's the harpoon gun, yeah. What did I get last time? I think last time I went for... What? Oh, it was this one, right. It was the ammo thingy. That's probably not a shabby idea. Increased damage and shoots 2 weaker harpoons instead of 1 thick boy. I will go for that one. I could get a health upgrade. I've so far resisted any health upgrades, and maybe I ought to at some point. Get the infinite ammo around logger. Right, these are the 4 kind of talisman items. Lantern being brighter wouldn't be a bad idea. I'm gonna go for more ammo. I'm like holding out for as long as I can before I do any health upgrades, apparently. This, of course, means that I'm using the harpoon gun as the upgraded station for a long time before I ever actually... Hold on. Oh, secret! Apparently, harpooning a fish gives us a bunch of fun story stuff. Maybe it didn't have to be a harpoon. Maybe I could have just shot it. But yeah, apparently I'm like going as long as I can without having to mess with like upgrading my health, which is already pretty good. I feel like 200 HP is pretty good. Part of the crew fell into a delirium. Of course they did. Yep, we all know how that goes. We all know how that goes. Can I follow the boats? No. Speaking of my job, I kind of debated whether or not I wanted to mention this. Some of you might have noticed. Alex, you cracked open a soda. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday night. What the hell's wrong with you? Usually my soda night is Thursdays. This might be a 2 soda. This might be a 2 soda week, and I'll tell you why. There was we got word. We got word coming down from the top, from the helm, about 2 weeks ago, saying like, yo, we don't want to do this, but the big LO is happening. There's gonna be some layoffs. They said there weren't gonna be a very lot of them, not very many of them, but they were like, there will be some layoffs announced soon. And it's the usual, like, kind of... Oh, also, we got a key to unlock a door, and that door had another key. You know, the usual kind of corporate kind of nonsense where it's like, listen, we don't want to do this, and we're going to minimize it, and we're going to, like, be as cool about this as possible, but it's going to suck. You know, some of you will be affected, and that's a bummer. To be honest, I wasn't too worried about it. I wasn't losing any sleep over it, and honestly, at the end of the day, if I were to lose my job, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I can always find another one. It's fine. But they basically said, like, yeah, the notifications will be happening sometime over the next, you know, few weeks, and we won't announce who gets affected, but we will announce when the affected parties have been notified. So, like, you know, beyond a certain point, if you haven't heard anything, you can assume you're in the clear. So the email went out earlier today saying, all right, the notified parties have been notified. The affected parties have been notified. If you're reading this message, then you're in the clear. So that means I'm in the clear. So that means I'm still gainfully employed. So it's a 2 soda week kind of week because the one tonight was, I guess, as a celebration that I passed the test. I passed the audition. And my employment lives to see another day, or another year or week, or I don't know. I mean, there could always be more layoffs. There's always a chance, but no. So it means I passed the round of purging, at least for now. But that's the great thing though, is that you're never fully safe because there could always be more. And we'll see. We'll see if it ever comes to that. But like I said, I wasn't losing any sleep, and I didn't. I wasn't like really too worried about it. And of course, you know, I told Gracie about it too. I was like, you know, this is a heads up. This is a thing that's allegedly kind of in the background right now, but same thing I told her. It's like, but I'm not too worried about it. And she wasn't worried either. The CEO can't afford his 3rd limo. Yeah, that's right. Or Lambo, rather. Yeah. Yeah, it was one of those situations where it was not terribly surprising. We all kind of knew it was coming. We all kind of knew it. We all kind of saw it coming. But, and I wasn't really worried. In fact, I don't think anybody certainly nobody on my team got affected, because I feel like I would have heard about it by then. And I don't think anybody, like, in, like, the teams adjacent to me got affected. So I question, like, how much of it even, like, tickled, like, the software people around me. It might have been more of, like a financial, because, like, you know how it is, like, every corporation, they got, like, you know, like, there's, like, there's, like, the HR, there's the finance folks, there's accounting, there's this, there's that, there's lawyer, like, there's always, like, multiple disciplines being represented. I have a decent suspicion that there was not really much of anything that affected, you know, our kind of camp that involves like the software people that I work with, at least. And we finished the level. I never got to use my cool new weapon. I got my cool new harpoon gun. I never got to use this thing. So, but like I said, so it was a celebratory drink in my case, because it means like I said, I passed the purge. But yeah, so, but like I said, it hasn't really been weighing down on me. It was like, I saw the email, I was like, okay. Good enough for me.
I have to get used to this bloodshed.
Get used to this bloodshed. The harpoon gun's pretty cool. Like that spread shot with the 2-shotter. Boom, baby. Okay, so that answers the question of what goes in the 4 slot. It's that grenade launcher. But for sure we would get some kind of, like, single barrel shotgun, since this fires 2 shots, technically. Hello, Shayna.
I smell the rot of this
The rot of this place.
These mushrooms poisoned the air.
Headshot. I almost kind of need to get up close to really get the proper experience of this thing. It's like a sniper shotgun. It fires, you know, like a very small and precise number of shots that do high damage, but it fires 3 of them kind of in a slight spread, so you gotta get up close and go for the headshot. So those guys have a nice wide hitbox. If I suddenly miss my shots, it's not because I'm an idiot, it's because I've got a cat, like, forcibly bumping her forehead into my elbow. My mouse arm.
I am prepared now.
I am prepared now. Wondering if that meant there was gonna be a boss battle? Ouch. Shotgun continues to be my favorite, by the way. I mean, I like a lot of the a lot of the weapons in this game. I mean, really, it's not a single one that I dislike actively. But yeah, the shotgun, especially the fully leveled up bouncy boy shotgun, I freaking love this thing. There is friendly fire. There we go. I kind of had a feeling. We've seen instances earlier where I was like wondering if it was a friendly fire incident. But seeing it more on the nose like that is reassuring. Swarm of godless savages from the sea abyss. Was a symbol on the back, he says. Hourglass, time, and eternity. I'm gonna read all this out loud, just kind of getting the highlights. And children and Anne out of town. And kind of unclear. We'll use this thing. You bump.
Cousin, I hope to find you alive.
Cargo, blue squid. It says cotton. Wonder if it's, well, that's the thing. We've seen this before, where there's mention of like, oh yes, we're shipping cotton, we're shipping seafood, such and such, and then you look at the boxes, the content of the crates, and it's very clearly vodka or alcohol. Of course, this all takes place in the 1920s, so prohibition is in full swing, faux show. So the blood splatter, I was like, apparently I wounded something unknowingly. have 17 shots for this guy, 160 for this guy. I should be using this more often. It's a pocket watch. BM. Is my guy looking for us? Because we are. Yeah, we're looking for our cousin. Because he had contacted the protagonist. Look at this like very smooth obelisk. He had contacted the protagonist. Saying like, yeah, I've uncovered something big. I need your help with something. I've like something about this evil force I've been pursuing. I need your because the protagonist is a priest. It's like, hey man, I need your assistance with this thing I'm chasing down, but like all signs point to that our cousin is on the run from this evil force that we keep encountering. And there's the question of like, you know, what is their fate? Are they still alive? Have they been kidnapped? Have they been taken by this evil force? It's all very mysterious. But oh, he's like throwing shit at us. Do a lot of damage though. Not enough to kill that guy in one shot. Maybe a headshot would do it though. This weapon kind of fucks though. I'm pretty impressed. It's not as like spectacular and flashy as the shotgun. Shotgun, you hit somebody and they fucking paint the entire zip code with their blood. This thing is more of like a subtle, like a zip. It penetrates and slapifies and spankifies. This thing's messy, and I like it. I like that it's messy. Yeah, bolt to the head. You would think it would be enough in pretty much all cases. That's a lot of damage. I'm impressed. Still got full ammo for this guy, which I've just kind of been ignoring. I like the pulse gun a lot. I feel like I've been neglecting it for other things. For the cool shiny new weapons we just got. Pastafarians worshiping the Holy Spirit. That's right. It's all just one big misunderstanding. What we think is a cult situation is just Pastafarians, just vibing, just having a nice time, and we've taken this many steps too far, unfortunately. Ooh, secret. You know, the Tormentor. I do like the Tormentor. It's pretty cool. I wish we could drop it sometimes. Like I wish it was not considered the best gun ever, because I think it's not always a great idea, but it is a pretty cool weapon. I need to be brave. I shan't lie. It is pretty cool. It's not always the best, but it is frequently very cool. The damage is pretty sweet. We have 40 shots, and only when the shots are expelled can we use our other guns. It kind of goes on top of all the other weapons. We're almost out of juice. We're out of juice. Now we are fully madnessed up, which means we can do really good damage. Ouch! That was healthy. And all of his, he ate his vitamins. And all of his Wheaties. Yeah, when your madness meter is full like that, you do extra damage and you take less damage for a small amount of time, which is nice. So whenever things get really spicy like that, we get spicy. Amazing pictures that would be good for a redeem. Oh, you mean like the MS Paint challenges? Farsight, like pictures of Pastafarians wearing the colanders? I'll never forget the day that I closed on my condo. The old condo I used to live in. From like 2017 to like 2016? 2016, I think. 2016 to 2023. When I got married to Gracie. And moved into our house together. The day that I closed on that old condo, the real estate lady with whom I closed on buying that thing, she was a little bit late to the appointment, because it was one of those things where, like, you know, you had to sign a bunch of stuff. The selling agent, real estate agent, is there, and the buying real estate agent is there as well. signing a bunch of stuff and, you know, signing your life away to a 30-year mortgage. You know how it is. And she was like, yeah, sorry I'm late. I just wrapped up another appointment with a guy. And she was tickled pink because he was like, yeah, the dude, the client that I just finished up with was a Pastafarian. And there's, I don't know if it's a Missouri state law of some variety, but there's some kind of requirement that says, like, okay, you can claim Pastafarian as your official religion only if, at least in some circumstances or in certain states, only if you, like, every official documentation of you has you wearing the ceremonial colander on his head. And sure enough, she didn't show it to me, obviously, but sure enough, this dude that she was helping closing a sale with, rather, his driver's license had him with the colander on his head and everything, and she'd never heard of it before. She had never, like, she's a normie. You know, that's the phrase I would use to describe this person. She was not a person who was terminally online, so she'd never heard of this kind of thing before. And so she was, like, very, very tickled by the whole notion. I was like, yeah, that's very much a thing online. So she was, she thought that was hilarious. What's up, Woo? Good to see you, buddy. As long as you allow my people from the craft worlds, safe passage. Craft worlds. Wait, is that another, like, Pastafarian-esque
I feel no
kind of deal? Something kind of similar? The noodly appendage, there you go. Yeah, Woo knows what's up. It's good to see you, Woo. Appreciate you popping in. We have a lot of doors to unlock. We came from this area, didn't we? I think we did. Yeah, we had to have. This is a dead end, yeah. Yeah. That's it. Sorry, I get excited when I get to break some barrels. Is that a pickup line? Are you trying to come on to me? Not that I'm complaining. How's about this? Let's go ahead and save. Yeah, we already saved.
Invaluable.
Let's go back to the games. I think we did just save, so we're already set. Let's go ahead and jump into here. Good to see you, though, Krath. I appreciate you popping in. And, yeah, Krath probably heard... I think we described Morrowind not too long ago when we were playing on Sunday night. We were talking about how Morrowind is wonderful for a number of reasons, and one of them is, just the open-endedness and freedom that you're afforded in that game, which is pretty sweet. I love that game for a lot of reasons. The quests, especially the main quest, I think is really, really spectacular. Of course, I do enjoy the leveling system, even though it's weird. I enjoy the combat system, even though it's weird, and I'm used to it. You know, the game came out in 2001, 2002 maybe. The opposed die roll system was the standard back then, but by today's standards, it has, of course, aged quite a bit. But I still enjoy it for what it was. And I will always simp. I will always simp for Morrowind, and I have no shame. Oh, maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit of shame. I love it, though. It's a good one. And I think it holds up, but, like, you have to know what you're getting yourself into, because, yeah, if you expect Oblivion or Skyrim levels of, like, action, interaction, and feedback loops with the combat, then it's like, you're gonna be a little bit disappointed, but you have to kind of approach it with a different mindset. Yeah, you're more likely to play Dunmer, or at least interact or encounter them in Morrowind compared to the other games, for sure. These never have to... They never have stuff in them, but I'm always tempted to, like, at least try. But if this is the one time there's something cool. Different traits, right, yeah. And they become homogenized, right. That is the general consensus that I've heard as well. Where I think a lot of people still like Skyrim the most, which is perfectly fine, but I think the general consensus is, like, yeah, it's like... It becomes less specialized and more genericized. Homogenized is probably the better term, honestly. To say that, like, yeah, it's like there's less specialization. There's less weapon classes. There's less spell types. There's just less, like, complexity. And that's not terribly surprising. I think that's usually how it goes, generally speaking, with RPG series like that, you know, as they get more popular. Where Morrowind is it has quite a bit of complexity to it, with, like, the systems for leveling your character and the kinds of armor classes and weapon classes and spell classes and spell types, and there's a lot there, and it's kind of intimidating to some from the outside looking in. And Bethesda who can blame them? They want more people to play their games. How do you allow for more people to play the game? You make them more simplified. You kind of cut down on some of that what is deemed unnecessary complexity and depth. Whereas people like myself and Krath and Ace, we love that complexity. We live and like reside and thrive with those kind of complex systems. We love it. But like, it's an investment. It's an investment in someone's time and energy to learn those systems. And
something for
we're all busy. We all have other responsibilities. We all can't be expected to like dive wholesale into some kind of like very elaborate setup or system for every RPG we want to play. Sometimes it's nice to just jump in and already know, generally speaking, what we want and be off to the races. And that's where Oblivion and Skyrim shine more, because they're more simplified. And I don't want to say like dumbed down like they're stupid, but yeah, they've trimmed a lot of the fat, and it's more of a narrow focus. The guardrails are a lot higher, and you're playing, it's like you're playing bowling with the bumpers up, there's it keeps you safe from going into the gutter. You can't make a stupid build that's unplayable, but you also can't make a hilarious build that's awesome. It's kind of a more narrow and more like, I don't know, more linear kind of experience in that sense. And especially with Oblivion, with the level scaling. Oh my god, the level scaling in Oblivion makes combat just a fucking chore, let's be real. So yeah, so I appreciate kind of what Ace kind of summarized there, because I think that's, even for the Skyrim proponents out there, I think they would generally agree, you lose a lot of that complexity, but at the same time it's more mainstream appropriate. And Bethesda has been rewarded in kind with making those games more approachable by the mainstream, because everybody's played Skyrim. Who here's actually played Morrowind though? Like not as many of us. But Skyrim is like a household name. There's people that have never played a video game in their life that know about Skyrim. They've never heard of Morrowind. So, there's this strategy of focusing more on how can we make this more mainstream appropriate so more people play our games and beat our games. Again, I don't fault Bethesda for going down that line, and it's been working out well for them. So, I'm happy for them, but I'm sad that, selfishly, that the kind of thing that I want is not as big of a focus. But I should know better than to think that that's that's like, the expectation, that what I'm looking for is not what everyone else wants. And that's just how it goes. I think I'll level up the lantern, or maybe the health. Maybe I should level up my health, since my guy's definitely been getting his ass kicked a little bit. Done her, but I hardly even know her. Morrowind is, yeah, if I weren't a product of its time, or if it weren't a product of its time. I mean, I still think it holds up, for sure. And I love it the most myself, for sure. The spell making, absolutely. Is Morrowind... Yeah, Morrowind is the province. The answer is that, like, in the game, it's kind of a weird case where Morrowind is the province, but you don't get to see the entire province. You just see Vardenfell. You see the island. Vardenfell is the island. Morrowind is the province, which includes a good chunk of the mainland. The developers originally had intended for you to experience all of Morrowind and include a good chunk of the mainland as a playable part of the game, but they had to scale that down in order to release on time. So they couldn't give you the full Morrowind province experience. You really, with the exception of the 2 expansions, are limited to Vardenfell, which is a shame. Now the good news is that there is a Morrowind mod called, is it OpenMW or is it Morrowind? I can't remember what it's called, but there's a mod that's pretty popular and like pretty
making progress.
Pretty commonplace in the Morrowind modding community that is looking to include, build out and include the additional mainland areas of the province. So you do, once the mod is complete, the idea is that you'll eventually have the full Morrowind experience, the full province experience. They're of course making this mod and adding these areas based on descriptions of things in the other games or contents of things that are mentioned in some of the in-game books, because Morrowind and Oblivion and Skyrim, they love their book, they're like in-game books, right? So they're trying to use as many lore appropriate things to fill in the blanks. It's how do you fill out the missing content for a province for a game that was like, you know, that was never like fully developed, you know, by the official developers. How do you fill in the blanks and have it be lore appropriate, have it be, you know, not like, how do you remove the guesswork? And I think the answer is that, yeah, they're trying hard to like use as many official sources as inspiration, but I think at the end of the day they are having to probably employ some creative liberties at least to kind of fill in the blanks. And I think the project is like, I think the mod is like pretty well developed, but I think it'll be a bit before it's like done. But it's pretty sweet though. And then of course Daggerfall's huge, right? Yeah, Daggerfall is like one of the largest games ever just by sheer, you know, square mileage. Even by today's standards, it is enormous. And of course a lot of it is procedurally generated, but still counts. Yeah, Solstheim, right, which was a retcon, of course. Meerkat says, what did you create, Alex? Art. It's called Art, Sweaty. Good to see you, Meerkat. Sky Oblivion's pretty cool. Yeah, I've never engaged with it, but it looks pretty cool. Sky Oblivion is more of just attempting to recreate Morrowind within the Skyrim engine. Well, it's the same engine, but within the Skyrim, like, you know, presentation. It's a Skyrim mod. I don't know if they're including the mainland stuff or trying to build out the mainland into Sky Oblivion. I'm sorry, Skywind. Skywind is the one that is doing Skyrimified Morrowind. Sky Oblivion is one that is doing Skyrimified Oblivion. But no, this is a different one. And yeah, the name escapes me, but it's a fairly like well-known one within Morrowind modding communities because it's a Morrowind mod specifically, as opposed to being a Skyrim mod. I was gonna say I'm trying to get that splash damage. I'm trying to splash. Oh, this guy, this motherfucker. Bonk. I got my ass ate a little bit by those guys. That is kind of messed up shock value. Yeah. 25 miles away, man, they fucked up. I've had the case where, like, I've ordered something and it's sitting in, like, a mailing distribution center for multiple days. I've had the case where it's like, I ordered something and, like, I'm in St. Louis and there's, like, a bunch of suburbs within St. Louis that are kind of scattered around. And there's some, like, fairly prominent, I guess I'm still at a shotgun ammo. There's still like some fairly common and fairly prominent like UPS and FedEx facilities that are kind of distribution areas, like distribution centers that where stuff frequently kind of comes to as it is en route to getting to your doorstep. And I've had the case where, like, yeah, I'll check like the FedEx or UPS site and it'll say it's in Hazelwood, which is, I don't know, 10 or so, maybe 20, maybe 15 miles away from me. It's pretty close. It's in Hazelwood. It's like, oh, cool. And then I'll check the next day. It's still in Hazelwood. It hasn't moved. And I go, huh, that's kind of weird. I could have just driven to the shipping site, but whatever. I'll just wait. And then day 3, still in Hazelwood. Has not moved. What the hell? And, like, the estimated delivery date is approaching. And then I check day 4. It's now further out. It's like somewhere in Illinois. It's like, what the fuck? Is it not going to get here in time? What the hell? And then like, day 5, it hasn't moved. And then day 6, it's supposed to get here. What the hell? And it shows up at my doorstep. It's like, guys, you could have made this easier for yourself if it would have just... Well, for one thing, I could have made it easier for all of us if I would have just driven to the place and say, here's my ID. I know it's here. Just fucking give it to me, man. Make it easier for all of us. But yeah, it's very, very strange. Very strange how that works out sometimes. And I know I'm not the only one that has had that experience, because I know it's like a relatively common kind of thing that happens sometimes.
This place needs an exorcist, not a humble pastor.
A lot of official sources, right. If I get to open the chest. Skyrim's really far into the future, right. Right, which is kind of nice, honestly, because Oblivion takes place not too long after Morrowind happens. So the nice thing about Skyrim is that, like, there's enough distance in between events where it is kind of able to stand on its own, which is kind of cool. Official depictions for the city. Right. Yeah, between the stuff in the other games and the stuff, I think there's books Like, not just the in-game books, but I think there might be, like, novels, maybe. I guess I can't remember. But yeah, there's the stuff in Elder Scrolls Online. There's a lot of things that do fill in those blanks, like Ace Roy's mentioning. So it's probably not, like, impossible for the devs of these Morrowind mods. Just trying to get to my pistols. To try to fill in some of those blanks. But still, it's definitely a tall order. At least it is to me. A tall order, and it's you know, the descriptions and even like pictures are one thing, but actually adding it in as a playable experience is something else. I feel like that's taking it to a whole new level. So it's a pretty impressive process or project. Yeah, 2,000 or 200 years after Oblivion, or after after Oblivion. I think that sounds about right. It is Tamriel Rebuilt. That's the one. That's the mod I was trying to think of. Tamriel Rebuilt. Anybody curious? Oops. There it is. There's the mod. Tamriel Rebuilt. It's a very ambitious mod for sure. Yeah, there's Skywind and Sky Oblivion. Correct. Yes. The attempts of like building those games into Skyrim as Skyrim mods, which is also like a pretty impressive project on its own. I can very much appreciate what those mods are going for. Is it something that I want to experience? Not anytime soon. To me, it's like if I'm going to play a game like Morrowind or a game like Oblivion, I'm going to play in the original experience. But I think it's cool. I think it's cool, and it's just an impressive feat of like modding. You know, just the idea of doing something like that is just, I think, a remarkable achievement. You know, just from a technical perspective. But I don't know if I'm going to rush out and play either anytime soon. Just drove there on a Friday night and just, yeah. I think there is a process for that. I don't think it's like against the rule, but I think like it's not like against any rules necessarily. But there's like a process for to like request it ahead of time or to like there was some kind of because I think I've done that kind of thing too, or maybe I've had it where I had to go and pick it up, where I missed the delivery because you have to sign for it or something like that. One of those where oh, here we go, secret found. One of those where you had to sign when it was delivered to you in order to like accept it. And this was back when I was working full-time in the office, so they would come by at like 2 p.m. Of course I was, you know, at work, so I couldn't sign for anything. And they would do that like maybe 2 or 3 times, and then eventually like on the 3rd or 4th attempt they'd be like, all right, well, we can't deliver this to you. You have to come pick it up now. You know, or else we're gonna ship it back to the original sender. So I feel like I've at least had instances like that where I had to go and sign for something. But yeah, I think while I was doing that, though, I also found that there was a way to say, like, yeah, you could elect to say, we'll hold it for you, so you will, you know, save us and yourself the wasted energy of having, like, misconnections of trying to like, catch when someone's trying to deliver something to you. So I think that's what it is, like, some kind of way to indicate a voluntary hold. So I still don't have the grenade launcher. Grenade launcher would be really nice right about now. So I'll just do this as a sort of spread shot attack. This thing, of course, fires kind of slow. Not that it needs to fire fast. It's not exactly a shotgun, but this is a shotgun. Oh, now I have the grenade launcher. Nice. Heard noises. It's charging towards me.
May you rest.
Headshot. Ouch. Is there more? Seems like there was like a bunch hiding in those little corners. Little corridors. I appreciate that we keep returning to this area as like a little hub area. As we keep clearing out these areas to get more keys.
Your assistance is invaluable.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Ace. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's because of Like usually like a mass shipment situation. They're not like mailing things individually, obviously. So yeah, so that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles sometimes, but it was very baffling. Yeah, all those things are being shipped in mass, obviously, by the truckload. So it does make perfect sense when you kind of take the full picture into consideration. So the end is right there. I'm gonna see if there's anything else to snag, but I think we're in pretty good shape, honestly. I guess that's kind of it. We were all kind of like building towards getting through the yellow door, since the yellow door was the last one. Anything else? Looking for any other secret things? A ton of the grenade launcher ammo, which I kind of was leaning on a little bit more heavily in this level. Almost all the secrets, which is to say we missed only one. And that's for Morrowind? Yes, yeah, Tamriel Rebuilt is a Morrowind mod. It's very ambitious. I think OpenMW is the framework. I think OpenMW is like a framework for Morrowind that allows for more elaborate scripting techniques, because the built-in Elder Scrolls construction set, TES construction set, is really limited, or maybe not even limited is the right word, but it's extremely hard to work with. I would know because I've made several mods for Morrowind. Ooh, boss battle coming in hot. I've made a bunch of mods for Morrowind, and I've utilized the construction set scripting language for a lot of stuff, and it's cool, and you can do some cool stuff with it, but for the more elaborate stuff, it's very archaic. OpenMW makes it a lot easier to like develop mods for the game, so that's a big one. That's a big one. The fact that they're using OpenMW to create Tamriel Rebuilt is like, to me, that's indicative of just how powerful OpenMW allows as far as like expanding what is possible from a modding perspective. Take a train, right? Exactly. A new train route, exactly. Yeah, it's or similar to like the obvious instances of like a connecting flight for a wait, kill this thing. A connecting flight for a trip, where it's like, well, the direct flight makes more sense as the crow flies, but there are no direct flights between these two locations, so you know you take what you can get. You take what you can get, and like that's just them's the breaks, right? You just kind of we have to like work with what we're given, because you know from an individual perspective that may not make a lot of sense, but sometimes that's just them. Sometimes them's the breaks. I'm trying to line up so I can just fire two of these at the same time. I'm guessing it's going to create some more of them. It's going to raise more obelisks. We'll have to kill all of them. So I can use this little wall to protect me. Builds up the shield. Got to break more of these things. Ooh. Ooh, and the barrier is rotating. So fancy. So we have to work within our means then. But not within our memes. Can I still shoot through? It's kind of an unclear. I might be able to shoot through these things. Don't get delayed. Oh, I'm getting got. Oh, okay. It's just a one-time thing, though. You know, it's not like a damage field. I might have to use my heals. My heals now, actually. That's this thing I can still, like, kind of shoot through. Oh, I looks like I'm out of that stuff. This is a tough one. One kind of... Oh, there's one there. And of course, he's infinitely spawning bad guys because he's a big old cheater. So I have this guy. Oh, I'm dead. This is gonna be a tough battle. Can I already tell it's gonna be a toughie. Old Thief games? Yeah, that's a good one for sure. There's a well, for one thing, when it comes to Thief, you've probably already heard about Gloomwood, right, Ace Roy? You strike me as the kind of person that would already be very up to speed on Gloomwood. It's gonna be tricky with like not having a ton of ammo here. The new Thief game, yeah. Well, yeah, the newest, I suppose, the newest Thief game, which of course not a lot of people loved. General consensus is like the newest Thief game, the one that was just called Thief, 2013, 2014. I've heard that one was just fine. Not very exciting. Hard to get excited about it. Dip, duck. Dip, duck. Duck, dodge. What is it? Dodge, duck, dip, dodge, and duck. No, you say dodge twice. That's what it is. The temptation to just ignore all the bad guys and just try to take all the obelisks is very overwhelming. Oh god, I just got fucking exploded. Oh god. Yeah, I think I have to blast some of these fools. So he is dropping, well, I don't know if he's dropping health, but there is health available sometimes. Only sometimes. There's a lot of shit. Myself a little bit. It's on the other side. I think we just have to run through it, yeah. Just gotta run through it so I can break these things. Is that the last one? That was the last one. More heals. Power of healing compels you. What else do I have? This guy. I got this guy. Oh, it's going real fast. Oh, I'm dead. God, this is gonna be a tough one. Holy shit. Yeah, Gloomwood. There's another one. There's another one that caught my attention very recently. I'll get you the name of it really quick. Because it's so fucking weird. It's such a weird game. And I love me some weird shit. But this one, like, takes the cake. Being something really, really out there. It is Brush Burial. Is that it? Yeah, Brush Burial. This game... I can't believe this game exists. It's so fucking strange. But it is perhaps the closest I think I've seen to a modern Thief-like, but still add some extra other weird stuff on top. It's a Thief-like, yes, but like it's doing other very, very strange things. Yeah, Brush Burial. I just posted it in the chat there. Yeah. Yeah, some good stealth mechanics. Yeah, it's not quite Gloomwood. Yeah, Gloomwood isn't like truly like a Thief-like, but it's. I think they did it seems like they did a pretty good job with like using Thief as an inspiration for sure. That's right. Yeah, I think you told me about Monomyth, Ace Roy. That sounds about right. Switch up some strategies. So we'll still start with the shotgun. I think we'll have to use the invincibility thing a couple times. Invincibility and infinite ammo. I think after the first... after the first kind of sequence, we're gonna have to start using those things. I think that I was saying earlier how there will probably come a time when we'll have to start relying on those things. I think we're approaching that time where I have to rely on these extra tools we've accumulated. I can't just use my cool gamer strats. I have to like make it good. I have to like get good and not just be like a casual video game guy being cool. So let's do it now. This is invincibility. Not for a whole long time, but it's pretty darn good. Looks like there's still one more. Out of ammo. Heal health in here. Shield is open. The shield's back open again. Let's see. It's F, I think. Yes. Get open. Got the heal going. There's some health right there as well. It's going so fast. Jesus. It's going so fast, Jesus. Jesus is like, why are you telling me this? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do about it? Come back the other way. Really pay attention. It's just the last. This actually might be the last sequence here. Might have one more fancy one. Nope, he's dead. So that's the key. Using those extra tools is the key to your success. And also survival. Speaking of which... it'd be really silly if I were to die to just the casual normies now. They're struggling so much just to... the big boy. Boss numero dos, that presumably, I think there's 4 bosses. Oh god. So I think presumably that kind of hints that we are halfway through the game. Someone else was tickling my butthole earlier. Who dares? Who dares tickle my booty? And not stop. And who dares tickle my booty and stops? We're supposed to keep going. Oh, this is like pain blood. It's like ouch blood. The blood that makes you not feel good anymore. Another restart. So we could respec if we wanted to. That's nice. Yeah, an immersive sim. Yeah, exactly.
Too late. They already killed him.
Did cousin get got?
You won't rest until everyone is dead. They were waiting for you. It's a trap.
Can't say we're surprised. Can't say I'm surprised, at least.
The truth is coming out. It is Mayor Benjamin Mahoney who leads this crazy cult.
The ultra-wealthy, evil, or like weird dude that rules over the town is evil? I'm shocked.
You can't let them have it.
I'm shocked that the corrupt mayor that has everyone in his pocket is secretly evil. I know. Can't imagine. A true believer.
Must be dead now.
Hello, crazy person. Headshot. They know I have like a bunch of guns, right? They're just running slowly towards me. Ignoring the fact that I'm fucking kitted out with all kinds of bullshit. Also, actually, a little bit away from the level. But this is gonna be like a level where there's like an infinite number of them and they're just respawning constantly. We'll see. Got a lot of bullets. We can do this all day, baby. I don't think they're spawning behind me, at least, so I think we're okay. The glowing eyes are very ominous. Just click their heads. Just click heads. Seems like it doesn't even have to be a headshot. Just a torso shot with the pistol will still be enough to drop them. It made me slap my honies. One of Gracie and I's kind of family friends. It's a friend of both of my wife's parents.
Do you know who I am?
And we've kept in touch over the years. He's a really nice guy. His name is Kevin. And his last name is like something kind of similar. So the number of times I've like seen that name come up, I want to make like some kind of joke at his expense, but it's like, nah, none of these people know who he is. A reference that literally only Gracie and I and this one other person would get. Well, the light shining through like that. I mean, man, there's a lot of them. For all I know, maybe it is an infinite number that are respawning. We've never had a number of enemies that was infinite in this game, but it's a lot of shit. And I got a lot of pistol ammo, so I guess if there was ever a time... Wait. If there was ever a time for them to throw a infinite number of bad guys at us, I guess this would be a case for it. The guy was like, "Bah!" But I'm over here like, bro, you shouldn't have just come at me with your pitchfork. Slowly. Just begging to get shot in the head. That's a lot of shit. Of course, killing all these bad guys is making my madness get up there, which is a good thing. It means we're gonna be doing crazy good damage against these heckin' idiots. Which is this guy. Teleported away like a gosh darned cheater. She is. Got a key. It's very much a more like a
Groovy.
or like an open, kind of an open, non-linear area from what I can tell. I flat my way through. Cabin from Resident Evil 4 all over again. Oh, flooding in, yep. We're just painting the floor and the ceiling and the walls with our brains. Dishonored, yeah. I've heard that's a good one for sure. At least the first Dishonored. Oh, I got excited thinking I could pick up the chainsaw. Yeah, darn. It's probably like some kind of reference. Chainsaw with the door barred shut like that. Well, we've killed every bad guy in existence. Let's see, we got the red key. Cleansed. We've cleansed so many. SSE has to be careful. It's clearly the way to go, but I want to explore a little bit more. Bad guys have seemed to cease with their spamming. Yeah, the newest Thief. Yeah, the 2013, 2014. Yeah, I've heard it was just fine. Just unremarkable and boring. Just very mediocre. Oh, is it from Evil Dead? It's true. I don't think I've seen Evil Dead, but I've seen most of Army of Darkness. Was it just a chainsaw, or was it like a chainsaw, like, arm attachment? I didn't see a boomstick next to it, so... it did not occur to me. That's where sometimes the bullets just whiz by their heads. Yeah, so also, yeah, I'm sure you're already very used to that feeling of frustration for me not having watched a thing that is beloved by many. My God. See all the dudes down here. Oh, but they're behind the door. Interesting. That's actually kind of cool. We got like a little preview, a little sneak peek that there's like a bunch of dudes in the next sequence over. I wonder if that's in... Oh, but they can shoot me. I can't shoot them, but they can shoot me with... Well, maybe like the special guys can shoot me at least. I wonder if that's indication that there are going to be a lot more that will spawn, or maybe that's just kind of like some extra flavor. Seems like no matter how you slice it, it just takes a single shot to drop these fools. I'd probably even just go to melee if I really wanted to save my resources. Going in. Tries to teleport away. Too damn bad for him. The hat's on the floor though. Right, I gotcha. Yeah. Because yeah, whenever I see when I'm thinking of something that is related to Ash, I think of the prosthetic arm attachment and also the boomstick. I kind of looped around then. The presence of corpses here makes me think that I've already been here. The little secret area back here? I don't think so. That was your first experience? Yeah, you were probably like, man, this is very mediocre. What the hell? Then you probably went back and played some of the older ones, and you were like, oh, now I get it. I've only played the first one. I've only played the Dark Project. I really ought to play the second one because I've heard the second one is very much the superior game. This is all. It's all dead. And I was thinking maybe there'd be a secret somewhere, but no such luck. If I follow this sign, will lead me to something cool. The downside of these very open areas is that like it's really hard to find all the secrets, obviously, just because it's so easy for them to be hidden in otherwise plain sight. Let's go to the next obvious space. It's like something kind of on top of that house. Ooh, could I get up there somehow? Oop. Ooh, here we go. Oh, we're cooking. I'm cooking. Here we go. Can I come down the chimney all Santa Claus style? No, I cannot. Oh, God. They're all just piling in. And like be extra efficient. I just meat grind them. I'm just clicking the mouse button down feverishly with my melee weapon, and it's got a little bit better range than they have. That was very satisfying, just grenading a billion of them. Still more where that came from, though. I guess we can just stand here and just kind of wood chipper them with the slightly superior range that we have over them. Lunch line them one after the other. So yeah, sure enough, we did see that there was like a whole gaggle of them, but they've been gagged. The gaggle has been gagged. I imagine that's probably how it is for a lot of people when they first play this level. Probably wind up with a very similar situation. Just gotta watch movies and gain knowledge. We're slowly getting there. I like to think I've like earned some amount of cinemaphile, like nerd cred with some of the things I've watched recently. Like I know I impressed some of my friends who are into anime. I told them that Grace and I watched Ghost in the Shell, the movie, the original movie, the 1996 one. And then we've of course started watching the Standalone Complex series, which I've really been enjoying. I think I probably like the movie overall more, but yeah, Standalone Complex has been on my to watch list for a long time, and I'm grateful that Gracie's been like really enjoying the cyberpunk stuff. She's been also getting into it, which is really nice. Because that was the hard thing. It's like I'd have to watch it by myself. Cause, like, you know, normally that's not the kind of thing she would go for, but recently she's been really into it. It's a lot easier for me to watch something if I've got Gracie to watch it with me versus watching it solo. Because I'm really bad about making time by myself to watch something. If I'm by myself, I'm going to be playing video games or streaming or, you know, indulging in my usual kinds of hobbies. I don't do a very good job of kind of going outside the norm in that sense. Clockwork Orange. Okay, that's a movie I have seen. Although man, a part of me wishes I could purge that from my brain. That movie was traumatizing. I mean, it's you know, it's well made, but oof, it's hard to stomach. Hard to fucking stomach that movie, but it's, you know, I get it though. I get why it's so, you know, even inspirational is not the right word. That's not the right word. But maybe you know, it influenced a lot. Influential is the better word. I'll heal just because I'm getting tore up a little by these bad guys. Yeah, foresee the goods. Especially movies you think I would enjoy, because I think a lot of you probably have like a decent idea of what kinds of things I would probably enjoy based on games I like or movies that I've mentioned that I like, or just my sense of humor, which is probably not too hard to suss out. I imagine that recommendations would be not too hard for some to give. And I'm always down for recommendations, but like I said, my bottleneck by a pretty wide margin. It's not interest, but time and like just the wherewithal to build it into my schedule. Given you know already a fairly limited amount of free time, like pretty much all the free time I have, that by myself, that is like solo Alex free time is streaming. That's like Very rarely do I play games outside of stream. Very rarely do I, obviously, like, do I watch stuff, like I was saying. Just because, you know, the realities of responsibilities and such, it means that it's something we all struggle with. I know I'm not the only one here with that kind of issue where it's harder and harder as we get older to wrangle these things. The very first one, it's very dated, yeah. Very dated, but I think it holds up, though. I think the Dark Project is very worthy. Freddy got fingered. I've never seen it. I kind of want to just to say that I've seen it, like check it off the box, I guess, but that's like that's one of those movies where it's like you kind of turn your brain off a little bit. I think the movie came out around the same time as Joe Dirt, and I did see Joe Dirt, and I like that one a lot, but kind of like that era of comedy movie where it's like extra brain dead goof movies. Just remaster the original Thief games. I mean, there is I think there's like some pretty prominently available mods out there that definitely clean up the visuals a lot. So for sure, there's like games that there's mods that make the game look a little bit nicer. But I know what you mean, though, Ace. The idea of like building it up a little bit more significantly would be nice. Yeah, more modern control scheme. Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't have to do a full remake. Wouldn't have to like go crazy with it, but just a little bit of a modernization could go a long way. I'm with you on that one. But do we trust like whoever owns the Thief license to do it justice? That's the part that's a bit of a stopping point for some of us. Yeah, that's what I worry about, Ace. I worry about like, oh, do we trust him? Can we trust him? It would depend. It would depend on who gets the license. It would depend, because there are some developers that I would trust for sure. Night Dive. Give it to Night Dive. They fucking nail it every time, man. Night Dive Studios can handle that shit like a fucking champ. But not everybody's a Night Dive, obviously. Not everyone has a Night Dive at their beck and call. I'm big Night Dive fanboy. They can... I'm sure there have been instances where, you know, some of their ports and some of their, like, remasters and projects haven't always landed, but everyone I've played has been good. The movie's just never what you expect. I remember seeing the commercials as a kid, and I remember seeing the Daddy Would You Like Some Sausages thing and being like, wow, that's weird, but funny. Because my fucking lizard brain lights up when it comes to just sheer absurdity like that. So I remember as a kid being like, I kind of want to see that. I wonder if it's any good. And I remember hearing it's, like, I think it got panned pretty bad by the reviews. So I think, generally speaking, a lot of people were like, nah, don't bother. So I remember seeing Joe Dirt instead. There's an alternate universe, though, where Alex, young impressionable Alex, saw that movie instead of Joe Dirt. And maybe it irrevocably changed him. Maybe I was irreparably altered, for better or for worse. Now, the reality is that I would have probably seen Joe Dirt anyway, because that's a good movie. I think it's good. Some go the extra mile to go for it, yeah. Or they license it, or you know, a publisher brings in a developer that can handle it properly with the right kinds of direction. Yeah, don't fix what ain't broken. Smoother some of the edges, yeah. And of course it depends if it's a remaster versus a remake. You know, that, and I also recognize that there's some overlap, you know, with those two things. There's some overlap. There's the line between what's a remake versus a remaster is a little bit tricky sometimes. Until Dawn's a good example. The newest port of Until Dawn, that by some measures it is not a remake, because it's, you know, a lot of it's just the same game but with cleaned up visuals. But they like developed a whole like new chapter to the game, like added a bunch of new content. So it's not really a remaster either. It's like somewhere in between. A groundbreaking discovery that will change our lives forever, he says. So no, I you know, a lot of us can think of obvious instances where sometimes it was done well, other times, maybe not always. These things have mixed bags sometimes. Headshot.
This will do for
Think
now.
of a good example of a remaster or a remake that was like viewed poorly. I remember the Warcraft 3 Reforged edition bummed out a lot of people back in the day. I assume it's better. I assume. Like, I assume there was some attempts to like patch things up and improveify things, but I don't know if that's true at all. Maybe that's just wishful thinking. But I remember that was like one example of a port slash remaster, really. Or was it a remake? I think it was just remaster that for one reason or another was kind of left a sour taste in some people's mouth. I think part of that is that the sour taste was because they removed the ability to purchase or maybe even download from their site the original Warcraft 3. So it was like a form-fit replacement for Warcraft 3, which is the classic, which is to say it was like the remake or the remaster was an inferior product comparatively. I think that was a sticking point for a lot of folks. But again, this is just kind of parroting what others have said. I can't really, weigh in it myself because I never played the remake. I did play the original though. I never did beat the Frozen Throne. Actually, no, it's not that I didn't beat it. I just never owned the Frozen Throne. I played the original, but I never played the. Can't quite get him. Yeah, played the original and beat it, but yeah, I never picked up the expansion, which is a shame because I heard it was really good. Huh, I don't know what that gun is. About to find out. Do I have a level? I was gonna say I want to level it up as soon as I can. Yeah, soft yeah, there's that in between, the soft remake. There's the soft remaster, like the enhanced editions. We saw that to an extent with System Shock. System Shock 1, the enhanced edition, which is, let's be real, probably like the preferred way to play System Shock Classic. Because I can't imagine playing the OG System Shock with fucking awkward ass half mouse controls, like mouse controls sort of, and the weird janky ass keyboard controls, the old ass resolution limitations. Oh my god, I can't fucking imagine. This is the Thundernomicon, and it is a full ass weapon. Maybe it's a rocket launcher. It's not like a temporary cool weapon. It's like an actual nifty thing. Oh god, we have a lot of boys. It's probably supposed to kill you guys with a cool new weapon, but I've put myself in a corner. I've missed 2 other weapons. Just 2 buttons that do not have shortcuts to them. Rocket launcher? That is exactly what it is, yep. Wouldn't want to use a rocket launcher on the little fellas, although we did use the grenade launchers on the droves of them earlier. Legacy of Kain, yeah, that is pretty cool. I did see that announcement. Legacy of Kain, and also, oops, there was another one that caught my eye recently. Well, I guess Soul Reaver, right? I guess we're probably talking about the same thing. Soul Reaver 1 and 2, which is like an offshoot of Legacy of Kain. Yeah, the System Shock remake, right? Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. There's also System Shock remake, which is its own thing. But I was thinking more the enhanced editions. Because they do add quite a bit of new stuff into the System Shock remake compared to the base game. Like that first floor you explore in System Shock 1 Classic versus, or even the Enhanced Edition versus System Shock remake is pretty impressive. Like the amount of stuff they've added. They really like padded those first couple of floors out, and for the better. I don't think it's like a bad thing that they padded it out. There's a lot more to explore and experience there, which is, I think, pretty cool, actually. I imagine not everybody thinks that way, but I like what they've added. So I vibe with it. Yeah, the Soul Reaver. It's directly tied. Oh, okay. I always just assumed it was like a spin-off, kind of sub-series. I guess that's the thing, though. I guess they didn't really make Legacy of Kain starring games while the Soul Reaver games were being made. Because, yeah, there was Legacy of Kain 1 and 2, I think. But since I never played any of those games, I'm kind of flying by what little I've picked up on over the years. It's a series I feel like I ought to play. I think I would enjoy it. That's another good example of like, yeah, I probably should at some point. I think I would vibe. Game saved. Yeah, Kane and Soul Reaver games. I kind of want to play the very, very first Legacy of Kane game. The one that was like a top-down RPG. It looks weird and extremely jank, but that's why I want to play it, because I love that kind of like old school weirdness. It's very, very bizarre, and not at all what I thought, like what I would expect initially, at least from what I've seen of Legacy of Kane and like that series. Yeah, I remember seeing like some footage, because I think it's on Good Old Games now. I think that was where I first kind of caught wind of it. I saw that and I was like, what is this? Not at all what I was expecting. When I think Legacy of Kane, I think like kind of like 3D sort of an adventure platformer of sorts. You know, kind of like PS2 standard, you know, PS2 GameCube era kind of standard games. Legacy of Gain. Legacy of Gains, that's when you try to get like fucking buff. Kane's a vampire, right? So yeah, maybe Legacy of Kane, you're trying to suck some blood, but at Legacy of Gains, you're trying to fucking get strong. Swole. Jet. Splash. Headshot. Is that it? Blood Omen? That's probably what I'm thinking it is, yeah. Blood Omen 1.
This is almost therapeutic.
Headshot. Just one big multi-layer headshot. Multi like touch point headshot. My guy's getting nice and maddened. John maddened. Did I kill all of them? Or a bunch of them at least? Close and personal, just the way I like it. Waiting for something to like be around a really sneaky corner. Slap my booty really, really hard, just the way I like it. Just the way I secretly desire. Secretly, not so secretly. A little bit more damage. Shot a guy behind him completely by accident. But it was on purpose because I'm a gamer. Got a lot of our health back, thank goodness. The Luther Strode comics? I don't think I recognize that. Is that like a is that like a particular interpretation of a like if that's like that that comic artist style to make everyone like extra buff and muscular? Open something. Get it open. Is it back at the bottom? It's gotta be. Maybe it activated the wind. Oh, that's probably what it did. It probably turned the windmill on. I don't think it was spinning earlier. Now it do be spinning. Now we can jump up. We haven't had a lot of like outdoor kind of vertical platforming like this in this game yet, so this is kind of cool. I want to line up for me real quick. There we go. Thanks for doing that. Blue key is next. It's the comics, yeah, that literally revolves around... Superhuman strength. Well, there you go. There you go. That's the Legacy of Gain right there, baby. Is there fall damage? I honestly can't remember. Probably shouldn't, like, fuck around to find out. Oh.
Supplies.
Very lucky secret find. I'm gonna try to like land on this thing. Seems like there was not fall damage. Maybe our guy's got superpowers. Level up. So how can I level up my grenade launcher, my rocket launcher rather, to be extra silly? I don't have access to this one yet, unfortunately. Maybe it needs 2 points or something? Maybe that's why. Increase firing speed. Just firing speed? That's it? I don't know if firing speed is really necessary. I mean, damage would be one thing. Maybe I'd be more inclined to increase maximum armor limit. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of instances where I want to fire the rocket launcher faster. Maybe for boss battles or something. Something. I'm sure it looks cool. Should I go for it? Oh, it uses the same ammo pool as our grenade launcher. Damn, that's actually kind of a bummer. The Luther Strode stuff, though, yeah. Yeah, very buff, yeah. Gotcha. I don't recognize the name. Maybe I should be responsible and upgrade one of these things. Because, yeah, very rarely do we go for the armor stuff. I guess I will go for this upgrade. Oh, I can't. I can't do it. Yeah, maybe I need more points for it or something. But yeah, my original thinking... Oh, wait. Oh, I see why. There's, like, something else we need. From some other gun. Some other, like, upgrade tree. That's why we can't get this guy. Because we need the additional upgrade to stun monsters. The holy water, right? That makes sense. Okay. So yeah, we are kind of incentivized then to go for more responsible things, unfortunately. So whatever this gun is, that'll be the good shit. To kind of unlock more stuff for us. In fact, that'll be the last gun for us, I think, whatever this is. That'll kind of answer these 2 threads. It's a better lantern. We did the max health one earlier. Yeah, I'm tempted to go for this one just because more healing powers does sound nice. This, of course, would allow us to get more of the ammo stuff for next time. Or the invincibility is probably going to be necessary for some boss battles later on. Yeah, let's do the health one for now. Go even further if we wanted to. And of course, if you need to, at some point, we could always respec. We have a number of respec opportunities available. We haven't taken a single one yet. We have 3 of them open, I think. We have red key and blue key. Is that my guy saying arg? Yep. Yeah, sure enough, they share the same ammo pool, which is kind of a bummer, but that's just how it goes. House. This path always available? It probably wasn't. Gunslinger's map from Dead by Daylight. We were actually just talking about Dead by Daylight earlier because the friend with whom we were playing Outlast Trials, Reaper Queen, she's a big Dead by Daylight fan. She's played that game a lot. Sometimes to her chagrin. I know she was saying she was holding off on playing it for a while because playing it sometimes makes her a little bit salty with just like the state of the game and how some people that play the game are so cracked or like so fucking good at it. It's a little bit gets a little bit obnoxious at times, but it's one of her go-to games. I know she plays it a lot. I've yet to play it. I've never played it myself. I'm intimidated by it honestly because the game's been around for so long. The skill ceiling for like not even the veteran players, but just the people that play like somewhat regularly is very, very intimidating. But I think it's a cool game to watch. I like watching other people play it. Can I do this thing? Sure, I can do this. Another Tormentor.
Whomever hid this
pretty good weapon. Pretty darn good. Oh, that being said, I really did enjoy what Reaper Queen was describing earlier. That really chaotic 8-player mode where there's like where instead of a 1v5, it's a 2 versus 8. So you have 2 two monster, like two like boss enemies, or two, I'm not sure what you'd call it, but yeah, two like villain characters versus 8 humans. That sounds like very goofy and very chaotic. I think like that actually sounds kind of nice because a nice little switch up from the usual formula. I respect when a really established game mixes it up like that. Even if it's with a temporary event, I think it's still pretty cool. I was hearing stuff. Gonna explode? It's a Canadian developer. I did not know that. From Quebec, I did not know that. Is it Quebec or Quebec? Is the Q like Qua sound that something I should not be focusing on? Like I've heard different pronunciations and I'm second guessing myself. Who wants a shot of red beverage? Who wants a shot of ketchup? Delicious. So yeah, Drenay, you're a very regular Dead by Daylighter, which I respect it. I mean, again, the game intimidates the shit out of me, but I respect the shit out of people that play it because you have to have some big brains and some big skills to be able to handle that shit. Outlast, yeah, I really ought to play. We were playing Outlast Trials earlier and had a really nice time with it. I would like to play the standalone single player games though at some point. At some point, I think it'd be cool because I've heard really good things about Outlast 1. I think there's a second game. I know that Outlast had the Whistleblower DLC that I think was, or expansion rather, that was also very well received. I don't know as much, if there is a sequel, I don't know much about it. But I know that, yeah, the first Outlast game is considered to be a very worthwhile game to play for those that enjoy survival horror. Power Surge. Had to flip the breaker though. Oh man, you've been without power that whole time? Oh no, I'm sorry, Anthony, that sucks. It's good to see you, Anthony. Appreciate you popping in, but I'm sorry you've been without power for that long. It's a bummer. From the whole house, right? The whole house didn't have power for that long. That happened to me once as a kid, where yeah, the power was out for like 2 days, and my mom and I. This is back when it was just my mom and I. Like we were in the house, and you know we were doing okay, obviously, but it was like frustrating. It was like annoying because like man, we're the only like city or like the only town on the. What am I trying to say? The only house in the block that this has happened to. And we had like called the power company, but they were like, well, we'll send someone out tomorrow. And then that got delayed and delayed and delayed. So we went like 2 full days without power. Then at one point, my mom just went down to the basement, was looking at the breaker and was like, now wait a damn second. Presses the switch and lo and behold, there we go. We're all set. Random how that just kind of happens sometimes. And of course, it's not random. I mean, like, it's like Anthony said, some kind of power surge usually what causes that, but still bizarre. Bizarre how that can happen. Maybe not even because of a storm necessarily. But we got angy music. Put this back again now. Naked wretch. Naked wretch. And you know, I feel mean for punishing them for being naked. Not something to be ashamed of. Like I just kind of chilling there. Get to this one. There we go.
Die!
Such angy music, but I think we killed everybody. All the big baddies. It's Quebec. Thank you. Thank you, Drenay. I want to do it legit. I want to be a real cool dude that says things right and isn't a bumbling goofus. Yeah, the breaker turning off thing, that's wild. Did you have surge protection? That's good. That's good, because yeah, the story I shared earlier, that was from like when I was, I don't know, 8 years old. This was the 90s, obviously, so a long time ago.
This is not the end.
Every single house was without power. Oh wow, so it was some kind of widespread thing, at least initially. That's bizarre. Yeah, like hit a power pole. Yeah, some kind of utility damage. It happens, just like you said. Woke up at 5. Yeah, still what's happening, man? That's crazy. I'm glad to hear it's resolved, but that does sound like a pain in the ass. For everybody involved, including all your neighbors, too, for that matter. They keep moving by like a few ticks. I'm trying to set up the cool gamer shots. Don't they understand? Oh, there he is.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
You have all the keys. Which means we're nearing the end of the level. Is there anything else in the maze or anything? There's a bunch of bad guys that had spawned. It's odd to me that the maze... I've like... There's apparently areas that I had not explored earlier. That just kind of so happened to lead me to the right spots every time. Like, I would get the blue key... and I would re-enter the maze, and I would just so happen to bumble my way into the area that required the blue key. Then I would get the red key, and same kind of thing. I would just kind of bumble my way. It makes me wonder if there's, like, other stuff that I've missed. But I don't see anything. I think we're in pretty good shape, honestly. Yeah, I had to flip a switch. It's that simple. It's not always that simple, but this is one such case, and we'll take it. Glad to see it. Doesn't always work out the way, but we're glad to see it. Ouch. That's not halflings. Halflings County? Are you kidding me? Halflings County? You're gonna call your place Halflings County and I'm playing this game? It was written in the stars. This was meant to happen.
Now I can finally get
Now I can
out.
finally get out, my guy says. I want to get in. You want to leave. I want to enter. I want to live in Halflings County. Okay, maybe not in the current state of things, given how zombified and scary everything is. Halflings County. Shit. You kidding me? Oh, wait. Maybe I should double check just to make sure. When I say continue, it'll start the next level, right? Just to be safe. Just to be safe. I assume it's auto-saving at the end of every level. The beginning of every level. Sure enough, yeah. That's exactly what it is. Okay, so we'll be able to pick this up next time. It is getting pretty late, so I think we're going to wrap it up here. Of course, we started a little bit earlier as well. Started a little bit early. And went to a pretty respectable time. Oh, so there was a power... Just an overall strain being put on the power grid. Windmill Farm said an overproduction. It's odd for it to be too much of a good thing, but I understand how that can happen. Yeah, that does make sense, unfortunately. Well, like I said, I'm glad that it's resolved. I'm sure that was a pain in the ass, though. And again, knowing that it was just a flip of a switch to solve it is a bizarre one. But glad you got it sorted out, though. But anywho, yes, we're going to go and wrap it up there. Glad we were able to play some more Outlast Trials with Reaper Queen. That was very fun. It would be nice to get a full group together at some point, because it was really fun when we got to play with her friend Aiden. He joined us the first time we played. That was a week and some change ago, and that was awesome. And yeah, I would very much relish another opportunity to play with him again, and maybe a fourth person as well. I know that we have our friend Jet Dive. He's played this game before. I was trying to see if I could get him to join in, but I know he's been pretty busy lately. I know he's doing some traveling, so he's been kind of all over the place. But no, it was fun. That was fun, and we got to play more of this game. I think we're clicking along at a pretty good pace. Of course, I tend to play these kinds of games a little bit on the slow side anyway, but yeah, I think we're past the halfway point by this point. So I think at the rate we're going, if I'm able to stream tomorrow, and I think I should be, then I don't think we're gonna beat the game tomorrow, but I think we'll be like kind of on pace to maybe beat it Thursday. That's kind of what I'm thinking.